Okay, Reggie. First off, let's just start out with Team USA. How did that come to fruition? How did that opportunity present itself? Because that was kind of the first step in taking the next step.
Yeah. I got a call about 2 to 2.5 weeks after Summer League ended. I had just finished my stint with the Sacramento Kings. Was a little discouraged by the amount of playing time I got and things of that nature. But I got a call from Coach Ty Ellis, who now coaches, he's an assistant coach with the Phoenix Suns, and asked if I would be interested in coming to join Team USA. And I remember asking him, are there guys who aren't interested? I get to wear the red, white, and blue. So I think there were guys that had rejected the offer for whatever reason. So it fell to me. I obviously wanted the opportunity to don the red, white, and blue, play for Jeff Van Gundy. So I said yes immediately, and within I think by the next week or so, I was down in Houston in training camp with Team USA.
So you guys play in the Americup and have good success. What was that experience like? What did you take from that experience? Because you mentioned Jeff Van Gundy. Here's a guy who's led the Knicks way back in the day to the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
Is a great analyst. I mean, knows the game of basketball back and forth. What did you learn? What did you take away?
Well, Jeff and now Stan are the two most detailed and meticulous coaches that I've ever played for, especially on the defensive end. And so just being in practice and listening to his terminology, the way he described the ways that plays would play out on the court, just learned a lot from him, and really felt like I meshed with him and his system and his philosophy, and I think that helped to breed my individual success while I played for him down in Argentina. And I think that helped, to get the gig with the Pistons. I think they're very like-minded coaches, very similar in the systems and the way they like to do things, and so having the experience with Jeff has prepared me for Stan.
Yeah, as far as Jeff goes, because he's had such success, and I mean, even when you hear him describe basketball on TV, you just know he knows so much about the game.
Yeah.
Did it give you more confidence knowing that he had trust in you? You're a double-digit scorer for him, playing for Team USA?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I went into Team USA not really knowing what to expect, kind of just with a happy to be here mentality, getting to play under Coach Jeff, getting to don the red, white, and blue, getting to travel to countries I've never been to, and to actually be able to, I think in the Americup I was kind of like his sixth man, so to speak, that came off the bench. But like I said, really fit into his system. Really felt like I meshed with his philosophy and the ways that he likes to do things. I think he likes kind of hard hat type guys that'll do the little things, and that's always kind of been my game. And so meshing with him, really feeling like I understand what he wants, really just helped increase my confidence. And that's kind of how my career has always been. I start off kind of happy to be here, a little unsure of myself, and then just slowly grow in confidence. That's how it was at Northwestern, and that's how my Team USA experience was. So that by the time we played in the FIBA qualifiers right around Thanksgiving, I felt like I was one of Coach Jeff's guys. Like I know the ropes, I know how he likes things done, and so I was ready to play and ready to be one of the leaders of the team at that point.
You were playing in Reno after that again. How did the opportunity to play for the Pistons and to play for Stan Van Gundy, how did that work? I mean, is Jeff like, hey, man, I know this guy that can play. How did that play out?
Well, I would get some texts, sometimes phone calls from people early on in the season while I was with Reno, and sometimes getting people tagging me on Facebook saying, Jeff Van Gundy just gave a shout-out to you on the Spurs-Celtics game, bro. And so I heard a few of those. But I know that he was one of my greatest advocates, trying to get people to say, hey, take a look at Reggie Hearn. He can do some things. He had scouts that came out to the Team USA practices, one from the Pistons, who I got to talk to at one point after a Team USA practice, and he was very encouraging and told me that I was an NBA level player, just to keep grinding and my opportunity would come. So I know that Jeff has been advocating for me all season, and been in the ears of several executives and whatnot, and I know definitely in the ear of his brother, having talked to Stan a little bit. So I think what eventually happened is that the Pistons just felt like the guys that they had, they weren't really sure about going forward, and Stan had said he kept watch over my play and had been having Jeff in his ear, and so the combination of those things just provided an opportunity for me.
What was it like when you got that two-way deal? Because it was kind of the next step for you. What was that moment like? And at that point, you know you can be in an NBA uniform at a moment's notice.
Yeah, so I was in Toronto at the time at the G League Showcase, and we were playing, I think, on a Friday or on a Saturday. And I got a call from my agent on Friday saying, hey, the Pistons are interested in a two-way deal. And I was thinking, man, there's no other teams. Like, he had told me a few teams that had shown interest. The Pistons weren't one of them, so it very much surprised me. And then on Sunday, he got the call and said, hey, they officially want to sign you. And I was at church at the time, and so I stepped out of church, called my mom and everything, and it was a very exciting moment, very surprising moment, because I felt at that time I hadn't been playing my best ball, and also I just didn't know that the Pistons were actually interested. And so it was just kind of a surprising moment, but very exciting, very surreal at the same time. Like you said, the two-way player is kind of the next step. Two-way players are kind of considered the 16th and 17th roster spots on every NBA roster. So I feel like I'm still not in that top 15 yet, but, my career has always been step by step by step. I feel like I never skip a step. And so, want to ride out this deal with the Pistons and do everything I can to play well and help the organization. And, hopefully there'll be a greater contract offer down the line.
What's it like when you walk into the Pistons locker room? I mean, I know you played summer league ball. I know, you've been in camp with guys, but what was it like when you walk into, the Pistons locker room in the regular season, see a locker with a Reggie Hearn jersey, see a locker with Reggie Hearn's name on it?
Yeah, that was when it really kind of sunk in. To, like you said, see my name, see my picture, see my likeness, not just in the locker room, but also kind of in our cafeteria area. I get my own personal iPad that has my name and number on it, and things of that nature. And people from home asking me, when are they going to start selling your jersey? I'm like, man, this is actually a real thing. So just very cool. Still kind of sinking in. I think maybe it'll sink in more when I actually get, more significant time in a game, which will come in due time. But so far, man, it's just been an awesome experience, and happy to be a Detroit Piston.
February 5th against the Trailblazers, what's that night like for you?
Yeah, so I kind of gotten used to the fact that, at least for right now, I'm kind of like an emergency guy. If the Pistons need me, I'll be there to suit up, but not expecting to play, but knowing, just like at Northwestern, I could be called upon at any time. But towards the end of the game, I'm seeing we're starting to pull away, and the Blazers are looking tired. They were on their second night of a back-to-back, and so I'm kind of starting to get myself prepared. And then the moment came, about 2.5 minutes in, and Coach Stan calls my name, and what's going through my mind is, okay, just go in there, just play normal, don't try to press anything, just play within the system. And then Reggie Bullock comes down the court and passes me the ball. As he passes, he says, shoot it. And I'm right in front of the bench, and I hear everyone behind me yelling, shoot it. And as soon as I catch the ball, I wasn't thinking shoot it, but then I realized my man was off me, and he should know the scouting report. I love to shoot. And so I just released, and it went in. It felt fluid. It was great. I tried not to explode and celebrate on the court. Just kind of casually point at Reggie and say, good pass, bro. I obviously wanted to jump up and down and be very excited, but it was just a cool moment, and hopefully there will be more moments like that to come.
Did you have time to process kind of the magnitude of everything that had happened leading up to that point to get you to that point in the game, or is that something that you thought about afterward? Is it something you've even thought about at this point?
It's something more that I thought about afterwards. I don't think it really hit me until I got on Facebook afterwards, until I go to my phone and have 50, 60 text messages and some calls, and everyone just so excited for me. I don't think it really sunk in until then, and I just realized, all the people that have supported me along the way, all the people that were happy for me, and all the people that have contributed to me being where I am. Because me being where I am is not an individual accomplishment. It's a community accomplishment that began with my parents, trainers, coaches. I mean, even the people who build these facilities that I'm able to work out in and perfect my craft at. But behind it all is my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. God has given me the abilities, and so kind of that moment, afterwards, that night, seeing all the people, supporting me and congratulating me, and realizing, man, this is big. I've actually reached the NBA. I've scored NBA points. There's 500-ish players in the National Basketball Association, and I'm one of them. and I just scored points in a National Basketball Association game. So just very cool, and obviously I don't want to rest on that. Very cool moment. Detroit took the ball, sent it to my mom, so I'm sure she'll frame it, put it in a box. But it's only up from here. So.
Blake Griffin finds you afterwards, gives you the game ball. What's that moment like? I mean, here's a multiple-time All-Star, one of the best players in the game, and he's like searching you out to make sure you get that game ball.
Yeah, he came up to me and said, "Bro, were those your first points?" I said, "Yeah," and then he disappears and comes back with the ball and shoves it in my stomach and says, "Here, bro, congrats." And I wasn't even thinking about it. I wasn't even thinking about, the magnitude or the importance of, man, like, this is my first NBA points. Might want to have some sort of memento or keepsake from it. I talked to him more the next day, and he said, he doesn't even know where the game ball is, where he scored his first points. He wishes that he had it, and he could even link me up with someone in LA who could have it engraved and embossed and all that stuff. So just a great moment, and very nice of him to just be thinking about that for me. Great leadership quality, and we're happy to have him in Detroit. And that kind of guy, I think, is going to lead the organization to great things.
You are a 100% shooter as far as the NBA goes.
Yeah, that's why I've given legitimate thought to retiring. I mean, I don't think anybody has ever shot 100% in the history of the NBA. So, yeah, shooting 100%. Don't know why I'm not in the three-point contest, but it is what it is.
That's Naismith Hall of Fame numbers right there.
That's what I'm saying.
As far as just kind of your journey, it's kind of been well documented. You play at Snyder, you make the state championship game in 4A under Coach Sims, and no D1 offers coming out. When you take a look back, how much of a testament is it to your hard work, to kind of the fortitude, you mentioned you never really, some guys get to skip steps. You never skipped a step. How do you look back at that, and how did, maybe not getting a D1 offer coming out of Snyder fuel you to get to the point where you are today?
Yeah, when I look back at it, I see the grace of God. There are many times I wanted to quit. We could stand here for another hour, and I could give you moments of where I wanted to quit, or where I was very much in despair, distraught, depressed, distressed, every word you can think of in the thesaurus, and didn't want to keep going, didn't want to persevere. But I asked God many times, is this a part of your plan for my life? And every time he would answer or send people into my life to encourage me to keep going. And so that's why I said earlier in the interview, this is not an individual accomplishment. I'm not, people tell me sometimes, oh, well, give credit to yourself. You worked hard. I did work hard. But, I mean, for me to get to the NBA has been a collection of people helping me with God behind it the whole time. And so I recognize that. And when I look back at my story, that's what I want other people to see as well. And that's what I want other people to take for their stories. God is behind you. God has a vision for you. God has a dream for you. May not be as a professional athlete, and that's okay, but you've been uniquely gifted in whatever you're gifted at to get where you want to be. And if you surround yourself with people who will, give you vision and give you encouragement for that dream, you can make it happen. But it's all done in a community. It's all done as a part of a collective unit.
As a walk-on who I believe showed up late to his first practice at Northwestern on accident, there was an alarm clock issue.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that.
As a young guy like that, or coffee foot guy gets coffee spilled on his pants on a bus ride.
You know your stuff.
I do. As that guy, at that point, did you ever envision your life in basketball unfolding? I mean, could you have even conceptualized, something like this happening?
Absolutely not. I mean, as a walk-on, I was just at Northwestern wanting the opportunity to play Division I basketball, having no idea where it would take me. Honestly, not even thinking that I had a professional career beyond basketball. It wasn't until probably the beginning of my senior year. I remember I was talking to Trey Demps at the time, who played at Northwestern, a good friend of mine, and he said, "Bro, you could have a really good overseas career. You're a good player." And I thought about it, and I'm like, wow, there's actually a chance for me to go pro. But still, at that point, I wasn't thinking that there was a legit chance at the NBA. Deep down in my heart, there was that little bit of hope, that little bit of belief that maybe it could happen. But if you would have asked me as a freshman walk on at Northwestern, 5 years from now, 6 years, no, it's not 5, '09. That would be 8 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that you would be a Detroit Piston in the NBA? No. But here I am. And again, it's a huge testament to God and what he can do. So
Maybe I'm incorrect, but I believe Swanigan, Caleb was on the other side when you played the Blazers in that game. So was it at any point, I don't know, in warm-ups or after the game or just thinking about it, were you ever like, man, there's like a Fort Wayne guy on each of these NBA teams?
yeah, I did think about that. I saw him briefly while I was warming up. He walked by me and we said what's up to each other. But awesome for both of us to be able to put Fort Wayne on the map. Awesome what VJ is doing, VJ Beacham, and James Blackman as well. And I think people are starting to notice that there's some talent in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Indiana has always been the basketball state, but I feel like guys who go pro and stick hasn't happened very much. And so I'm happy to see that we're starting to get some guys come out of the 260 and represent us on a national scale.
Your senior year in the state of Indiana, obviously there's Deshaun Thomas. You guys played Jordan Holes. Scotty Wood was a pretty darn good player. To look at all those guys and from that group of really good players to be the only guy that scored in an NBA game, I mean, what does that say, I guess, in my final question, what does that say about just the perseverance that you've had?
I mean, I think what's the phrase, the night is darkest just before the dawn. I think about that a lot of times in my career. Like I said earlier, there's many times I wanted to give up. But sometimes it's just at the point where you're about to give up, where your breakthrough is about to come through. And so I think that's just been, a big part of the story of my career. And sometimes it's really just about holding on. You know what I'm saying? A lot of kids quit. A lot of kids, don't necessarily get along with their coaches. Coach Sims, if you're watching this, didn't always get along with Coach, didn't always see eye to eye. And they'll want to quit because of their coaches, or they want to quit because things aren't going their way. And, it's just about patience. It's just about hanging on sometimes when you can't see light at the end of the tunnel. And so that's what I've tried to do my whole career, and it's obviously paid off.
Awesome. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, just thank you, Fort Wayne, for all your support.
All right, awesome.